guns. Instead of talking about federal government implementing new laws and regulations, let's talk about the numbers. Let's talk about how homicide caused by firearms has decreased over the years. Let's talk about individual states and their regulations and how it's impacting our nation as a whole. If you take a look at this graph right here, it shows from 1981 to 2018, there has been a definite gradual decrease in homicides caused by firearms. But us as a nation, we feel that it's increased because we're hearing about it more and more on the news. And we're hearing about it more and more on the news because media, social media. We didn't have social media in the 80s and 90s, going up until the 2000s. But if you take a look, it has continually decreased. There's a little increase there, but in general, it's been a great decrease. And that's good, and we're on the right path. We should not have the federal government getting involved. We should focus on individual states. Brings me to my next point. In 1991, California passed new regulations requiring all firearms to be registered by the state. And after 1991, they added some more regulations and laws. But if you take a look here, starting from 1991 to 2015, California had a 60% decrease in homicides caused by firearms. And I attribute that to our gun laws that we have in place in California. California has one of the strictest gun laws in the nation. And it really, really shows. Our numbers are much lower than many of the states nationwide. If we look here on this map right here, it grades each state on their gun laws. Strictness grade A, right here for California. If you look at Alaska, it has an F. If you want to look at Mississippi, it's color-coded, so it's pretty much self-explanatory. Mississippi is an F. Come here to Massachusetts, it's another A, in Connecticut. What I'm trying to get at is there are states that have really great laws that are put into place, and it makes a difference on the violence and the deaths and the homicides that we see on a regular basis in these states. Going to my next slide. Oops. Right here, it's firearm mortality by state. The lighter colors are states that have the least mortalities, and this coincides with the previous map. The previous map showed us that New York, New Jersey, California had some of the strictest gun laws and regulations placed. Alaska having one of the lenient, they don't have a gun law. At the age of 16, a child can open carry a gun. No permits are required for buying or selling any guns. There's no background check in Alaska. And Alaska is the #1 state in our nation for the highest per capita homicides caused by firearms. And same with like going into Mississippi and Louisiana. So what this shows me and tells me is that the states who have the stricter laws and regulations set in place are the states showing the lower homicide rates by firearms. So instead of having the federal government getting involved and implementing their laws and regulations nationwide as a blanket, we need to urge and push states to change their rules and regulations and have their own rules and regulations within themselves for their people in their states. There's no need for the federal government to change our laws and regulations because we're doing great in California. New York is doing great, New Jersey, Massachusetts. They know what they're doing. We have great laws and rules put into place. But other states, the ones in the darker blue and shaded, those are the states that need to focus on their gun laws and regulations. Let's change the conversation. Let's not focus on banning guns. Let's not focus on President Biden urging Congress to pass bills for stricter laws and regulations. Let's change the talk to states who don't have any laws or regulations put into place, putting those laws and regulations in their states for background checks, permits, waiting periods to purchase a gun. Then we will definitely see a difference in our nation as a whole. Let's keep the federal government out of passing any laws as a nation for gun control.